Greetings. What do we have here, folks? It's Eamon looking at keyboards again. You may know from my previous videos, I'm quite a fan of my Keychron Q5, and I got an email this afternoon about this. This is the new upcoming Lemokey. Looks a little bit too much like lemon to me, but that's okay. New brand of Keychron. This is targeted to gamers. No surprise there. It's going to have, in addition to the knob that is on my current Q5, they've got a knob, and this one is actually on the top left of the keyboard. So it's going to be for the left hand instead of the right, which makes sense. If you're a gamer and you're on the mouse a good bit with your right hand, you might need the knob with your left hand. That's neat. They've got these 4 slots on the right side for extra keycaps for macros. They've got these little indicator buttons over here underneath the number pad. It looks like they're buttons. We'll dive into that here in a minute as we look at some more details. This comes with cherry keycaps instead of the OSA keycaps, which are included on my Q5, which I really like. In case you're wondering or you're not super familiar with the differences, it's just in how the shape of the keycaps themselves go from the spacebar up to the top level of keys. The OSAs are right in between the OEM and the SA, so it's kind of a hybrid version between these two. They're very comfortable for me. They are not as contoured as something like these MDAs. They are not just uniform and kind of contoured like the XDAs. The cherries seem to be the most popular ones, more flat angles up here on these middle 3 sections, and then, the contoured space bar. But to each their own. Cherries probably are the more commonly used for gaming, which is why they went with them here. If you go to Keychron, this is where you will land if you're looking up the Lemokey L3. From the picture, I don't know if these things are actually buttons or not underneath the page down, delete, and end keys over on the right. This is also a 2.4 gigahertz wireless keyboard. It has a wired option, but you can do the wireless option as well. My current Q5 is fantastic, but it is only wired, which was fine for me. But if you need a wireless use case, here we are with this. Now, here are some of the hot button topics. We've got that 2.4 gigahertz and apparently also a Bluetooth option, so we can toggle between. We've got the 1000 hertz polling rate. Of course, we've got VIA support, as does the Q5, which I've made a video about if you would like to see that. Connects up to 3 devices, double shot PBT keycaps. That is the same as my keycaps. The double shot part, that is, as we mentioned, they are a slightly different design. Double gasket structure, hot swappable. Most of this is uniform and similar to here are the specs for my Q5. And as you'll see scrolling down, if you have a Q5, you're going to get a lot of the same features. You're going to add that wireless option. You're still going to have the PBT keycaps, but you're going to have the OSA profile instead of the cherry profile. South-facing RGB, I didn't see that over here. And it doesn't appear to be on the page. I would be surprised if it's not. The construction of the keyboards are identical. I have gone through, at least in the layers, they are identical. There may be some differences in the specific pieces used, but I'll scroll down here and show you the layers of the Lemokey. Must be way down here. So they've got a different diagram, but it's all the same stuff. Start with the bottom case, battery, silicone gaskets, case foam, PCB, sound absorbing foam, plate, gaskets, top case, switches, keycaps, and the knob. They like to highlight that knob as well. I do too. And here it's just back and forth. You can fit it all on one screen easier on the Q5. Arguably a better layout visually, but it's the same items throughout. Back to the Lemokey. Let's go back up here. And we've got the 2.4 gigahertz, and Bluetooth is quite highlighted here. That's not a super big deal for me. In fact, I used to have wireless and I went back to wired just because I got tired of charging more often than I felt like I needed to. Maybe they will improve the battery life of this one. They've got the VIA highlighted, which is quite important. I love this ability and feature in the Q5. You can map pretty much virtually anything that you can think of to any key. They have 4 layers. That's 2 for Mac OS and 2 for Windows. Full aluminum frame. I was quite surprised when I took my Q5 out of the box how darn heavy this thing was. It was very surprising and quite pleasing. Rotary encoder and macro column. So that's a fancy name for a knob, I believe. The double gasket, as you can see in the video, as the keys are pressed, it kind of goes up and down with that double gasket feel, and it is quite a good feel. Mine does this as well. I don't know if it's quite that pronounced. Let's pull up a notepad and let me duck down and see what this looks like. Yeah, mine doesn't do it quite like they do in that video. There's not as much action. So there perhaps may be more feel, more give in the double gasket on the Lemokey than on the Q5. Here again is that premium double shot PBT cherry keycap. Easy to reassemble, so again targeted to those who may require or need or want some additional customization. These things can be taken apart, and here's easily how to reassemble it. This will be available July 2023. I'm recording this at the beginning of July, so right now all we've got is a sign up with an email to be notified on launch day. What do you think about this? Is this going to be a good option for any gamers out there? As I mentioned before, the knob being on the left side for me, that's kind of doesn't matter one way or the other, but for gamers particularly, that's going to be handy to have if you're using that for stuff and you need your hand on the mouse at the same time. Hope this has been a helpful overview for you of this upcoming keyboard. If it has been, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel for more technical videos like this. I talk about coding and spreadsheets regularly here. Hope you have a great one. You're awesome. Bye.